What does it all mean?
This is where the archaeology has been found.
Oh, hi, how are you? Well, look at that.
I need a planter.
A shrine to a belly button.
This is a rock of salt? Look at that.
No one gets into this place.
No one.
Nice. Whoa, don't take me too far.
Now that's naked archaeology. Behind me is a closed wig shop. In most places, a closed wig shop is just that, a closed wig shop. But for me, naked archaeology tells me that this is an opportunity to philosophize about the Bible and hair.
In Jerusalem, you can't help noticing that hair is worn differently than hair in other places. Religious men wear beards and sidelocks or payas, and women cover their hair with scarves or wigs. Why? Does hair have a deeper meaning in the Bible? Is it something more than what's on top of your head? I'm on a quest to find out what biblical hair symbolized and what it looked like.
Impossible.
The trouble with that is, the Bible isn't illustrated. Why? In Genesis, we're told that humans were created in God's image. But humans were forbidden to create images of God. Most of what we think of as biblical hair comes from movies and television. So I want to know, are those images the real deal?
This also fell in with my plans.
When you want to find out about biblical hairdos, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? Ein Yael, just outside of Jerusalem. Here they're bringing back all things biblical, from olive presses to pottery to hair. Because when they're showing me those hairdos, I want to know why they're doing what they're doing and what it has to do with the Bible.
Suri Provisor, ancient craft specialist, is going to get me started on my quest to find out about biblical hair.
We are gonna design Mayana's hair into a biblical hairstyle.
Biblical hairstyle, I love it. This is your daughter, right?
This is my daughter, Mayana.
Mayana, very lovely, and now you're going to be biblical. Okay, so what are you going to do?
From what we see in the coins and statues, we see that they actually used to braid their hair in front and just collected it in the back. It was just a simple style for the girls, for the young girls. It was just what was accepted in the ancient culture. So girls her age actually have a few years to have a good time with their hair. After that, it's gone.
Young girls are one thing, but I want to know what the grown-ups were doing. So I'm off to see biblical scholar Professor Yair Zakovich to find out if he can give me the hairy lowdown on Hebrew hair.
I'd like nothing better than to question him.
First of all, I don't think that you should talk to me about hair. I'm bald. You're teasing me by talking
You're an
about...
expert on hair, I can tell.
Yeah, sure. Okay, hair is a symbol of beauty, both for men and women in the ancient world. And in the story about, Abraham and Sarah going down to Egypt, and there we get a whole description of her body from top to bottom. And they tell you that her hair was so very beautiful.
So in a sense, hair can convey a lot of imagery, sexiness, attractiveness.
There is this belief that there is a lot of power in the hair. That the hair belongs to God. Hair is the element that grows, so it's a symbol of life. Perhaps that's the reason why hair is so very important.
The most famous hairy biblical story is in Judges 13 to 16 and stars those two great biblical lovers, Samson and Delilah. Before Samson was even born, his mother-to-be agrees to raise her son as a Nazirite. A Nazirite wasn't somebody from Nazareth. A Nazirite could be from anywhere, like John the Baptist. They just had to take a sacred vow. Numbers 6, 1 to 21 tells us everything we need to know about being a Nazirite. Keep kosher. Stay away from anything to do with grapes. Avoid corpses and graves. No haircuts. No combing. As the young Nazirite Samson grows up, it becomes obvious he has the gift of super strength. But our hunky Jewish hero falls for a sexy Philistine gal named Delilah, who cuts his hair. Once that part of his Nazirite vow is broken, all his troubles begin.
Towards the end of his life, he has to pray to God to let him take revenge and to ruin the house of Dagon, which will fall on the top of all the Philistines. You are being told there is no power in the hair. The power is God's.
So Samson's problem wasn't his haircut. It's what it symbolized. Breaking the vow he made with God.
So maybe that's why a Nazirite doesn't cut his hair, because he has to learn to control his ego even when his hair is loose.
Yeah, you come up with a psychological explanation, which I'm willing to accept, but there is no proof to it in the Bible itself.
For me, the proof is in the Bible and archaeology. So I'm off to talk to Philistine expert Professor Aaron Mayer, who's made an archaeological discovery that makes the Samson story seem more like fact than fiction.
You look over there.
You found hair?
No. That's the area of the Judean Shphelah. The foothills of Judea. That's Samson country.
Show me that temple you found.
Yep.
Not everybody can say that. I can't go home and say, honey, I'm home, I found a temple. We have the famous story of Samson in a Philistine temple. You're standing in a Philistine temple.
I'm standing in a Philistine temple. I'm standing on one stone column base, and this is the second one.
The biblical text tells us that Samson, he of the long hair, he was tied up, he was blinded, he had his hair was cut, his masculinity was cut, he lost his strength, and he was tied to these two pillars. Here's Aaron Mayer, finds a Philistine temple, and what do you have? Two pillars. And look at this, if you imagine the pillar here, and imagine the pillar here, it's perfectly positioned.
But what's a temple if it doesn't have an altar?
That was where probably the cultic focus of this building was. We know from Mesopotamian texts that a woman would cut her hair and it would be given to the temple as an offering.
Why hair?
Hair is a very, very important defining aspect of humans. The story of Samson, yes hair, no hair, cutting the hair, has a lot to do with his sexual potency. He's being emasculated. You know what, actually, if you think of it, the story of Samson is sort of like a combination of an X-rated movie and a Rambo film.
The archaeology fits with the biblical tale of the guy with the long hair.
Samson's uncut hair was the outward symbol of surrendering his ego to God. But what about the average biblical guy? How did he wear his hair?
He's a tall man. He's a tall man.
In my search to discover the deeper meaning of biblical hair, I've learned that for the ancients, hair was a treasure that could be part of an offering or an oath to God, like a Nazirite. But what about the average biblical Joe? There are rules for him too, and to break them is worse than eating pork.
Dreadlock beard. Like a woman wouldn't go around with her hair exposed like that, like you do.
Well, especially if she had a beard.
Do you know why you wear your hair like this?
I like it.
You like it. But I'll tell you, this is Rasta. It's a Rasta look. Hasids, they have their hair like this. Yeah. Same passage from the Bible. The Rasta says, you're not supposed to just not cut this hair. You're supposed to not cut the whole hair.
Dreadlocks are a great look, but not all the ancients went for it. So just what were the rules for ancient guys in biblical Judea? I need to find someone whose business it is to know. A kosher barber. Who better to explain that passage in Leviticus?
There's 5 points that you're not allowed to cut with a razor. Which points?
Here, 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 5.
You're better off eating a nice pork chop than cutting that hair there. That's serious business.
The books of Moses tell us that shaving is a big no-no. Why? One reason might be shaving was part of pagan rituals for the dead. And God wanted Israel to stay way clear of anything pagan. But modern electric shavers are more like hundreds of tiny scissors. So if you can pull off a trimmed beard with no razor blades touching your face, it's kosher.
This, not kosher, kosher. Because this is a razor must not touch the face. This is a scissor never gets that close. Am I right?
Yes, all right.
Look at this man, look how he looks beautiful.
It's his job. Good job.
But there's another story in the Bible where it's body hair that's important. So I'm off to the Bible Lands Museum to talk to Dr. Pnina Galpas-Feller, expert in ancient hair. I want to talk about two biblical brothers, Jacob and Esav.
Everything that it's written in the Bible has meaning. And when the Bible says that Esav was a hairy man, it means that he was a masculine. He was a real man, as we say, a macho.
Jacob and his twin brother Esav were born to Isaac and Rebekah. Esav was the he-man, Jacob the geek. As the older twin, Esav was entitled to a birthright and his father's blessing. But by putting goat skins on his arms, Jacob disguises himself as the hairy Esav and tricks his blind father to give him Esav's inheritance. So Jacob got the goods and Esav got the shaft.
He saw his brother, that he was very good looking with hair, and he used to run outside, and he was a brave man, you know, like a hero. He looked at him and he was jealous.
Maybe when Jacob puts on the hairy skin, he's changing his identity.
Exactly, exactly.
So for Jacob, changing his hair signaled a change in personality and identity that was a first step towards becoming the father of Israel. But for biblical women, what did their hair signal?
Why do Orthodox women cover their hair?
It's modesty. It's supposed to be a very enticing part of the anatomy.
Well, how does it look?
He's a tall, tall man. He's a tall, tall man.
When I started on this journey, if you asked me about biblical hair, I would say Samson and Delilah, like everybody else. But the more I think about it, there's hair all over the Bible. There's hair when it has to do with Jacob getting the blessing from Isaac. How does he fool his father? By pretending to be hairy, like his brother. When it has to do with taking a special Nazirite vow, like John the Baptist, to have a relationship with God, has to do with not cutting your hair. The more I think about it, the hairier it gets. Waiter, waiter, there's a hair in my coffee.
The 5 books of Moses are full of rules covering everything from what kind of clothes to wear to what to do if your ox falls in your neighbor's ditch, and what women need to do to keep their hair kosher.
You've got your head covered. Is that a fashion statement?
It's not a fashion statement. It comes from the Torah.
The books of Moses, the Bible.
Books of Moses. As an observant Jew, we follow the Torah. We lead a Torah life. And the Torah explains that once a woman gets married, she needs to cover her hair. These are called tichels, or the headscarves. I also have a sheitel,
A wig.
which I wear on the Sabbath. It looks like, hey, why cover your hair? It's because my own hair carries an energy which is not to be shared with the world.
So hair is a powerful thing as far as you're concerned.
It's a powerful thing.
Do you think that women in ancient times covered their hair or braided their hair? Or both?
You look at ancient cultures and you see that people really did cover their hair. It's, I guess, only a modern thing that women are not covering their hair.
So, for the modern woman, hair can be a big statement.
I guess it's a self-image thing and how you want to present yourself to the world.
It's a statement?
I guess so.
What statement?
That I don't like long hair.
If I was one of those colors, which one would I be?
Lagoon blue.
Folks, Lagoon Blue.
But what about the ancients? What statements were they making with their hair? Maybe the frescoes of ancient Egyptians on display at the Bible Lands Museum can give us a hint.
The biblical idea of hair, how does it differ between, say, a man and a woman?
In Egypt, hair symbolized not only gender, but economical status as well, also age.
So one guy has a fancy wig, that shows his status.
And you don't see his ears.
So what about the other guy?
The other one is younger, and therefore you see his ears because he has to hear and to listen to the old man.
The old guy's ears are covered because he doesn't have to listen to anybody. Not exactly democracy.
In women wigs, they are always, you can see, exposing their ears like the goddess Hathor.
So is there another reason why Egyptian men and women were bugging out on wigs?
We have a lot of evidence, for example, in Egypt about lice, in wigs and in hair as well. We can find them in mummies.
So in ancient days, it was the mummies that had the lice. Today, it's the kids.
But you know, they were very clever to prevent lice. They used to take a cone to put it on the wig. And the cone was made by butter, honey, and beautiful raisins, beautiful smell. And it was very hot during the banquet. And little by little, the oil was melting and suffocated the lice.
For ancient Egyptians, hair telegraphed status, gender, and age. But for the Israelites, hair was about following the Torah. And one of the Torah's most controversial rules is in Numbers 5, the law of the sota, or unfaithful wife.
She's suspected of being with another man. She comes before the rabbis. In order to humiliate her, they undo her hair, which could mean many things. It could mean undoing her braids, or they uncovered her hair.
My understanding was that the reason why Jewish women cover their hair can be traced back to this one passage in the Bible.
No, sorry. In ancient times, the Israelites didn't cover their hair. The priest is messing her hair. We don't have any evidence why nowadays the Jews are covering women's head.
You could be wrong about that.
The word sama in the Song of Songs, which is misunderstood as a braid in modern Hebrew, actually it is a scarf, something with which the head is being covered.
Did women braid or cover their hair? I still don't know. So I'm going to the Israel Antiquities Authority to check out 2 archaeological finds that might straighten out the knots of this hairy biblical debate.
He's a tall, tall man. He's a tall, tall man.
2 of the most moving artifacts ever found at the cliff-top fortress of Masada both involve hair. 2,000 years ago, in 70 AD, the Jewish defenders of Masada fought a 3-year battle against the Romans for independence in Judea. According to the ancient historian Josephus, when the Jews' defeat was imminent, they chose suicide rather than face enslavement. Dr. Orit Shamir of the Israel Antiquities Authority can tell me just what was found with respect to hair.
What is that?
This piece is a hairnet from Masada.
Oh, that's, you know, I have a weak spot for personal items. It's so moving. This is a woman's hairnet, yes?
Yes, these are pieces of a hairnet decorated with red cord, and also they used the same color of the hair because we found some pieces of hair attached to this hairnet. Yes.
I could just see the husband, you know, giving his wife a net, you know, in the same color. I know I'm a sucky guy, but it's that personal connection. You know what I mean? Suddenly
If he chose it for her, but maybe she chose it for herself.
Well, I'd like to think he chose it for her.
So at least one woman at Masada covered her hair, but another woman simply braided hers.
Wow. You could actually see the braids of this woman's hair.
Yes, and you can see that she couldn't take care for herself. They couldn't wash their hair, they couldn't take the lice out the hair, and you can see that it is in such poor condition. Also, you can study about their diet. They didn't eat very good food there. They starved. And also the hair suffered, of course, from the sun itself also.
So you see that the hair suffered from the sun, you see the diet is poor, you see lice in the hair.
Yes.
And yet, there's the human touch. She's braiding her hair.
Yeah.
She wasn't ignoring
Yes.
the way she looked.
Yes.
Good for her. Eh?
Yeah.
Good for her. What a story.
Whether biblical women braided their hair or covered it, still up for grabs. But for unmarried girls, there was no debate. They braided, not covered, their hair.
Look at that. She looks like she could be on one of those ancient coins. Did you realize how much hair stuff there is? You can't cut the corners of your hair. That's where payas comes from.
Oh, yeah.
Samson gets in big trouble because of his
Hair.
right hair. The adulterous woman, she is humiliated with her hair. I mean, there's hair all over the place. Did you ever realize how much hair there is?
No, not really.
It's a very hairy text.
Ta-da! Bye, Mom. Going to school. See you, honey.
We are our hair.
Wonderful to know that hair was a symbol all over the years, all over the culture in ancient time as well as today. It symbolized something.
Hairdos come and hairdos go. But there's nothing that connects us to the simple humanity of people better than our hair.
He's a tall, tall man from a tall, tall land. He makes no apologies for his archaeology. He's a tall, tall man from a tall, tall land. No apologies for his archaeology.